Hey, Vince,
What's up, Lowell?
how do you get a guitar player off your front porch?
How?
You pay for the pizza.
I am so goddamn poor, nothing gets me up anymore. I am so old and jaded, overblown and overrated. So give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff. Everything is never enough. Give me all your stuff, give me all your stuff. Give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. I want your stuff.
Welcome to the Pedal Board Podcast. On today's podcast, we are going to discuss a topic that is hot on the internet forums, the Facebook groups, the Discord, whatever they are, and maybe even TikTok. But I'm pushing 40, so I just don't get TikTok. But we're going to talk about
friend.
we're going to talk about guitarists as changeable as the weather. We stick to our guns until we don't stick to our guns, or we get new guns, or we get more guns. I think that, like, I mentioned this in the preamble before this podcast, but Vince and myself, I would say, are a pretty good representation of the cross section of what your prototypical guitar player was, and will be. So let's I'm getting pretty good at this. Just don't toot my own horn, but my intros are getting better. So here we go. So we're gonna start from the beginning, move through the middle, directly toward the end. So
Sounds like a good plan.
You know what a plan is? It's
What?
a big list of shit that doesn't happen.
You know, you're not wrong.
I'm not. That's why I don't make plans. I have spontaneous ideas. I know when I was a young man, and most young guitar players, I would say, having worked in a music store, are going to be kind of fall into this line, is that they are true believers. Like, whatever they do, whatever they're into, is the only thing, and all else must bow and cower before it and hear the lamentation of the Wermans. I don't know if is this true for you? When you started playing guitar, were you like just into something and that was like it, nothing else?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, like, obviously, you know, my roots for guitar, but that was that was very much for me. I stuck with that as much as I possibly could, and the people I surrounded myself with were pretty much the same. You know, in a punk and grunge and that sort of thing. And there was like, that's the only thing that exists. That's the only thing that's okay. That's right.
No, I'm with you. I was a little bit different. Very much into punk rock, and metal. Some alternative stuff, but like when I was a young man, punk rock was the first thing that really grabbed me. I remember it was I want to say like freshman year of high school. I'm walking down the hall, and I'd kind of been dabbling in music, definitely listening to like I remember I bought like Beck's Mellow Gold. I had some Nirvana records. You know, I was kind of, I was into it. Some Metallica, everyone had Metallica. But there was two that really grabbed me. I was walking down the hall, and I was like, I was a super thin, raily dude, not super tall. My mom made me wear a fucking sweater vest and like Dockers, right?
Hold on. Do pictures exist?
Yes, I will.
All right, we're gonna circle back to that.
And I mean, I was just miserable because who knows who they are at freshman year of high school. I play guitar. That was pretty cool. I started to grow my hair out a little bit. A sophomore year, everything like turned around. Like, had long hair, wore this tight jeans, long sleeves, was kind of buff because I played sports. Pretty
Pretty.
cocky.
You're still pretty.
but I was like, I had that kind of, thank you. I had that kind of coolness. I could drift between any crowd. Like I didn't really have a crowd. I just hang out with whoever I wanted to. And everyone tolerated me or feared me enough that they just kind of let me do my thing. But there was this kid, might have been sophomore year. I don't know. It's foggy. That was a million years ago. Spiked hair, right?
Oh
Leather
boy.
jacket, total punk rocker. He's, new kid, kind of outcasty. And I like to, I'm very welcoming. My mom put it best. She said, I've never met a stranger. So I just kind of like sat down and I was like, hey, dude, what's up? I'm like, what you listening to? Just genuinely curious. He's like, oh man, dude, I got this Misfits album. And I was just like, the Misfits? Who the Misfits? He's like, I kind of knew of them because of like Metallica and stuff, but like, oh dude, can I check it out? Right. And we're listening to him, right? And blew my mind. And then he shows me it was the Misfits Walk Among Us record. Then he shows me Gwar, and game over, man. Like
it's all downhill from there.
Well, it was just like punk rock. I love the simplicity of it. I was actually a pretty good guitar player at that point, so I just jumped right in. Like it's just like, oh, this is awesome. It's powerful. The vocals, are usually pretty good and that kind of stuff. And there's melodies and stuff and a lot of flavor and fullness. Launched right into it. And I was just like, yeah, that eventually evolved into, playing metal, because I think that's just a natural evolution of a guitarist like that, is that you want to go find the more challenging music. You want to be challenged and stuff. Once I got into metal, then it was like, all must fall before metal.
Every metal guitarist is like that.
Yeah, but I was like guilty of the worst tropes of guitardom. Like scoopy mids, that's why when I see a kid, at a guitar store, and I've seen this more than once, they sit down and they turn the mids down, the bass and treble all the way up. I have a chuckle, warm chuckle. I don't get annoyed. I actually never got annoyed at the tropey things that kids would do, unless it was being not saying fucking please when they want something.
All right,
but that's enough. Anybody like that's not like, like
common courtesy.
I just people are like, hey, gimme, it's just like
that entitlement shit.
Like I'm like, try again. Well,
you
know what I mean? Like fucking try again.
Come at me with that, please.
Yeah, let's why don't we start over? And then my evolution kind of, punk. I started playing. I mean, there was a ton of things. I was in a goth rock band for a while. I had painted fingernails. You weren't wrong in the last episode when you talked about me. I did guy liner, black fingernails. Of course, I was like about 6 foot and like pretty buff. I was not to be trifled with. Like if you gave me crap about that, I'd also have the redneck in me to punch you in the face. I would do so with very little took very little set me off. I defended. If I thought something was like bullshit, I had to like smite it with all my might. But that evolved into, I started playing like much later. I started playing an Irish punk rock band. I think
Irish
that's where
punk rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of Irish in me. My mom's family is very Irish. And my grandma's like Irish and like, yeah. I mean, it's just there.
I just didn't know Irish punk rock was a thing.
What?
Never heard of it.
You never heard like the Dropkick Murphys or?
Well, oh yeah, Dropkick Murphys, but like I've never heard it classified as Irish punk rock.
Well, it's just like you're basically playing like shanties and stuff like that, but sped up punk rock style, and everything's about drinking and fighting and friends and like friendship and like brotherhood and sisterhood, whatever, just like people pooling together for the common good, fight the good fight, F the man.
Naturally.
No, but it's like that was like at that point I felt kind of liberated because having this kind of rock and roll, punk rock kind of band, nothing was taboo. I mean, we could just do kind of anything. Definitely a lot of the tropey changeableness drifted away, but never fear, it came back. So I did that for a while, and that was great. Played in this progressive metal band that was like kind of mostly instrumental, very challenging, great. And then came I was in a band called Men with Guns. We used to wear black suits with white ties and stuff, and we were a two-piece band. It didn't start out as two-piece, but it became a two-piece band. We were doing like very punky kind of garage rock. Pretty cool, fun band. Played in that band longer than any band I'd ever been in. Cool thing was it was the drummer from the punk rock, the Irish punk rock band, who kind of played together for a really long time. I went in a completely backwards direction at that point, though. Like I was using I would use like one pedal, maybe like no tuner. It's a two-piece band. Who am I tuning to? You know what I mean? I made sure the guitar was in tune, and I got a pretty good ear, so it was close. It was risky. But then I got to the point where like you don't need all this garbage to like make a good sound. You don't need like pedals. You don't need fancy gizmos and all this hoop.
That does hold true. It does, but
it's a good lesson. Everyone should go through that phase.
It is for sure. And there was a phase for me too. I would just plug straight into the amp just for the sake of doing it. And obviously like I love pedals, but I've come to appreciate them, as we discussed before, they're tools for creation. You're not relying on them. They're just a way to get you from point A to point B.
I call them toys, but that's just me. They're sound toys. You know what I mean?
They are. Yeah.
Kind of spruce it up. You know what I mean? Like it's like putting a fancy mossy oak seat cover in your F-150. I mean, it's just, it's the greatest way to travel around the flat earth. You know what I mean?
Trying to polish a turd.
Hey, we're going to talk about this later. I got words about that. No one here wants to hear. So yeah, you kind of, you know what I'm talking about. Like it's a good phase to go through though, because you learn to manipulate your sound with very little. Definitely was influenced by the fact that my dad was a musician. I was surrounded by guitar players, like very good guitar players that were very old school in their execution. A lot of these guys, I remember my dad's rig. I remember it vividly. He played a Telecaster, and he had, I don't know if you're familiar with the Marshall Lead 12. It's a practice amp with a single 12. It's very JCM-esque. It's kind of like, they call it like the mini JCM 800. Have you seen the little Marshall Lead mini stacks?
Yeah.
It's that, just in a combo.
Okay.
Very good sounding amps. I've got one sitting right back over there. It was my first amp ever. My dad gave it to me because he had a bunch of them. But he would use that to preamp a Silverface Pro reverb.
Okay.
He'd plug into that, and then he would plug that into the line out of that into Pro reverb, and he got a really good tone. I mean, that's all he had. That's all he used. And it was very punchy and poignant. But he would use this volume and tone knob to manipulate his tone, obviously pickup selection. But he did a lot of work from the guitar, which even like to this day, I still do. I'm up on that volume knob. Like it's my job.
Sorry, and you can get very far with it. I personally, I like having a volume pedal, just because I don't want to reach down and mess with knobs if I don't have to. But when you do go through that phase where you rely more on the guitar going into the amp, you have that manipulation, and it does teach you to, I guess, dial in your sound exactly how you want it without relying on anything else to get in the way.
No, exactly. And I totally agree. I remember, like, it's funny because my wife, I was setting up this stuff, and if you look, You can't see it, but over here is a wall of pedals, just wall of pedals. My wife said something to me the other day that I found very interesting, was that she said, like, I remember once you said you just don't really need any pedals. And I'm like, well, that's still true. I don't. A lot of the stuff on my pedal board, even the pedal board that you built for me, doesn't get used a lot, but it's there if I want it. And that's more what it's about for me. The whole pedal board experience is, there's certain things that I would say were kind of, I don't know, like stereotypical of a time for me. And that pedal board and my amp choices definitely reflect those tonal preferences of your, but I like to be able to summon them when I want them. That's what it's all about for me now, is like, I want to be able to, like, yeah, I used a Green Russian Big Muff for 1,000 years. It was the first pedal I ever bought. That and a Vox Wah. And then I got Dan Electro Fab Tone. Those were the first three. Two good, one not so good. Brandon would disagree. I don't think much of that.
That's another conversation.
Yeah. The things that we'll have a whole entire episode, folks, of us just disagreeing with Brandon.
It happens more often than we care to admit.
That's why I wanted to do this episode with you, because I feel like, once again, we are the cross section. Like, we are definitely more representation of, indicative of, like, the cross section of your average, well, not average, but slightly above average guitar players that exist. You know, like the guys that consume this content, the guys that build these massive pedal boards, the guys that love to chase tone. I mean, that's kind of like us. Take a look at that man right behind Vince. I mean, like, perfect example. Mine's just not behind me because I don't have to show it off to the world.
Shut up. I like it.
Well, you know, it's the benefits of being over 6 feet tall. And I don't
We're going to talk about that later too.
Okay, fine. We're gonna have some words after this.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he shamed a Ford F-150, so I mean, just get out of my America, man. You're not Ford tough.
I'm Army strong, okay?
I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about the Army. By the way, I know this isn't coming out on it, but I don't know. Is it Happy Memorial Day?
Yeah.
I always call my dad on Memorial Day.
So the thing, I guess, for service members at least, there's Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and Armed Forces Day. So Veterans Day is strictly for the veterans, Memorial Day is for those who didn't make it, and then Armed Forces Day is for anyone who's currently serving. So, like, we have that distinction, but, you know, societally speaking, most people just, it's a day to honor the military.
I've never heard of Armed Forces Day. I'm not even kidding.
It's not like a major thing, but it exists.
It's like a Hallmark holiday.
Yeah, more so that
kind of like a fill in the gaps kind of holiday.
It's like we might get off early that day.
I mean, hey, day off early is a day off early.
Yeah.
No, but I'm gonna have to call my dad. Thank you for your service, and do it a little quieter next time. Thanks.
His bitch.
I know. I can't. Every compliment I throw has to be a little side-handed. So back to it. The two-piece band garnered this. My wife even told me, like, you know, we'd had this conversation, and it reminded me. That's what made me think of this episode, like a thing for this episode, just being as changeable as the weather. I meet a lot of true believers just in my line of work. The fact that we do this, you know, being internet personality of sorts, you know, I get a lot of feedback, blowback, whatever you want to call it, with guys like, oh, well, if you don't like a Boss Metal Zone, why don't you just send it to me? I'm like, no, because it sucks so good that I have to, like, I need more. I pitched an idea to people, like, I just pitched this idea to a few people. No one has bitten yet. Eventually they will, or I will browbeat them into it, or I will reach a level of income that I can do it myself. I want to have a 10 by 10 square of 100 metal zones.
Oh God.
But I want to have it powered, and I want to have it all hooked up that you can just walk up to this art installation, plug in, and see what life is like with 1,000 metal zones with all the mids scooped out.
Just all in series. Oh God, that's gonna be a wall of fucking noise.
I know, it's gonna be delightful.
Is it though?
It doesn't matter. It's the experience. And it's gonna be all run through a Line 6 Spider set on Insane.
Oh God,
it's feedback. It's an art installation. But you know, you could do the math on that. That's gonna be kind of pricey. Even if Boss, like, I don't think I could talk them into giving me that mini metal zones. So if you'd like to donate your metal zone to this amazing idea for an art installation that I have, hit me up.
I think if we pitch this right, we could probably get Boss in on this.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Even if it's just like to lend it to you, just for the sake of doing the bit. We might be able to make this.
God, happen. You're good at this. Look at you, just massage this idea into reality. I give you bullshit, and you come back at me with something.
Look, you piqued my interest. Now we're gonna do this. We'll talk offline about that.
It would be epic. Let us know in the comments if you want to see this happen. So I'm in this blues rock band. I'm not using any gear, and I'm getting great tone. I'm using a Silvertone 1448 or 1449 that's been modified to be a 1448. Look it up, nerds. I loved it. Single lipstick pickup, masonite body, plywood neck, short scale. I really like short scales. My first real guitar that I bought myself was a Fender Jagstang, which I still have. You can actually see right there, the Fender headstock. That's it right there.
Holy shit.
Glorious guitar. Still play it, still love it.
All right.
It's gone through 1,000 pickup changes. Right now, it's just got as I said before, my favorite pickup in the world, a Gibson Burstbucker. I got a Burstbucker 2 in there because I feel like that mid-range kind of, it's just like a classic PAF. I got a blue video game Kill Switch in there too. The tap, 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 clean. I love single pickup guitars. I don't want a Telecaster. I want an Esquire. You know what I mean? Like,
that's fair.
I don't need that BS neck pickup. I just want that. I just love the purity of a single pickup guitar. Once again, here we go down the road of like things that I believe in.
There's just nothing to it. It's the sound you get from it is the sound you get.
And there's nothing to fiddle with, really. I mean, and the volume knob and tone knob effects are dramatic. So I mean, like, there's just very little between you and awesome. So fast forward, I'm doing this Men with Guns gig. We kind of bust into the big time. Well, let's call it the medium time. One of the things is being a two-piece band that was flexible and could learn insanely fast. We picked up a really kick-ass gig. So we're doing this professional tour thing. Just as we were like an on hire band and we just kind of got slurped into like being the band. Because the other band was not available. But anyways, we did the thing, and I got to see kind of like a lot of professional rigs. And I love the tones that they were getting. So then we kind of reset back to where I'm not so much the purist anymore. I'm actually kind of like starting to lean back. I want to get these really classic or these very big bodied tones with these cool effects that alter things a little bit, and just make them sound better and make these songs, these vehicles that we're, producing richer. I love the fact that I came from this, I just come out of this very pure tone purity phase. That the tone is in the fingers. No, the tone is in the mind. Open your mind.
Quaid. Tone in the fingers thing is
Quaid. Open your mind. Start the reactor. Like I just come out of this very zealoty phase of that. And it's fun to look back on this stuff because I'm just like, you're just, god dang, you're just a ridiculous creature, dude.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward, here we are now where I'm it's like pedal guru I've been called before. Gonzo pedal journalist was another one that I really enjoyed. In fact, this wall is going to be the Ralph Steadman wall. I've got it painted like super bright white, and I'm gonna like clear everything back and put plastic down. I'm just gonna throw red at it. It'd be really neat.
I'm interested to see that.
Oh, and that's getting a scythe right on there. Like I got one that I'm gonna mount on that wall, just to really like let people know what I'm all about. Death and rainbows, death and unicorns. That's me. Death and unicorns. You want to know what I'm about? That sums me up.
I don't think I've ever heard of a more perfect way of someone describing themselves. But knowing you, death and unicorns is perfectly descriptive.
Yeah, that's me. Death and unicorns. That's pretty good. That's probably the name of my next solo record. I make those. I just finished one. I just wrapped up the production on one. In fact, go to my website, lowellgeorgeknoth.com, and pretty soon you'll be able to buy yourself a copy of Lowell George Knoth's Where the Wild Things Are. Give me your money. I need it. I'm just gonna buy more gear that I'm gonna show you. So I mean, it's kind of like a circle, the circle of life.
We got to pay for the puppets somehow.
Yeah. So we're gonna interrupt our tirade before we jettison ourselves into the conclusion of this. I don't know. We're probably gonna go for a little bit longer, but probably. It's time for our weekly segment. Sound Toy of the Week.
Paddle time, do 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 do. Paddle time, brought from me to you.
So, Vince, do you want me to kick this off this time, or do you want to kick it off? I'm going to leave it up to you.
I think I did it last time, didn't I?
Yes. Look, you can see the yeah. I'll do it this time. Okay. I'm gonna use a little bit of a preamble to this one. I was hanging out with Brandon Schock, co-host of the Pedal Board podcast and pedal builder wizard extraordinaire. He has a pedal buying habit that's worse than me or yours combined. He buys a lot of pedals, but I kind of see that as him just kind of exploring his craft, checking out new things. He's like, feed the man information and he spits out magic. But he got one that was a lot of hype. He was super stoked for it. We had talked about it on several occasions, and he got it. And once he got it in his hands, as it happens, he was just not digging. He had kind of had a sour experience getting the pedal to begin with, with some rigmarole with shipping and production and all this other stuff. Had to wait a really long time for it, but it just wasn't his bag. But I played it because he had me try it, as he does. I go over there and he just hands me pedals like, dude, try this, man. Try this, man. Yeah, try this one. And we play with him. We tweak him. We just have a great old time because we're nerds. We've already talked about having Vince come to do some stuff because we're kind of just going to have to all be in the same room at some point.
Yeah, just let the shenanigans occur.
Yeah, and he'll get to experience that too. But without further ado, it's the Jupiter Effects Fernway Multi-Echo.
Okay.
We've seen the videos. I've seen the videos.
That was actually part of the giveaway I did earlier this year with Jupiter.
Oh, I didn't know you'd worked with them.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, anyways, this pedal's rad. Like, it is right up my alley. Like, it's crazy enough, workable enough.
I didn't get the chance to use it, but I've heard the sounds you can get out of it are pretty wild.
Yeah, and it's not a super. I mean, it looks like there's lots of gizmos and knobs and stuff, but it's basically just I would call them more delays than echoes, but that you can tweak and you can run them at the same time.
Okay. They just run in series or in parallel?
I'm gonna guess parallel. Could be totally wrong. it's a little bit above my pedal pay grade.
Okay.
And then you can
It
kind of
has
like
knobs, and I turn the knobs, and that's it.
you can kind of kick one in and out. You can have them both running, and then you can kick one out.
Okay.
This is like a blend. It's just really, I like it. It's kind of crazy and weird in a fun way. Was not super familiar with Jupiter Effects.
Yeah, they make some interesting stuff.
They had some really interesting case candy in this one. I'm not gonna lie, because I literally was like, just give me what I paid for it. And I was like, okay, yeah, dude, Brad. They had one that said they had a sticker that said less talent, more volume. I really enjoyed that one. They had another one that said fuck your ears. And then they had one that I didn't like. Yeah, well, you get the idea. But yeah, it's a crazy delay, which I'm kind of getting more and more into.
It's stereo.
Yeah, it's totally, check it out. Bang.
Right.
Yeah, so not that I would ever use that. It's just not my jam. But I am going to be playing actually more with this. I don't know, may do a review of it, may not. I don't know. It's just kind of fun. It's like one of those sound toy pedals. Same reason you've got a pedal that I want really bad. I want like Big Sky. Okay. And just because I'm a reverb nerd and delay nerd.
It's great.
And I just think I would have a lot of fun with it. I've had variations of that pedal. I have a Eventide Space, which is pretty cool. I've had some incarnations of these Uber reverb / delays. But I played a Blue Sky and I was just like, oh man, I played the Andromeda. The Seymour Duncan Andromeda. It's like, once again, same kind of concept. 1,000 miles of things you can do with it. Okay. Some people get in the weeds, you know.
It looks really interesting, and I'm sure option paralysis is a thing with that one.
Yeah, but I think they're all just like, I think for myself, just having briefly played one, I felt like that the Strymon Big Sky was kind of like the pinnacle of that kind of pedal.
Yeah,
like they just kind of did it right, and they nailed it.
The whole Strymon 3 that they've done is fantastic. Each one does what it's supposed to do very well.
Yeah, they definitely are as advertised, for sure. Yeah. I'll give them that. That's been my sound toy of the week. Jupiter Effects Fernway Dual Echo. Jupiter Effects. You know, send me some stuff. This one's free.
Yeah, I tried that. They ain't biting.
Oh no, it's fine. I don't mind buying pedals. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm gonna do it anyway. If I want it, I'm gonna get it. So big duder over there. My Hebrewist with the most. Get what's your sound toy of the week, my man?
Son of a bitch. So we've talked about bringing the guy from Westminster Effects on the show, Cody, a really good dude. A couple months ago sent me the E89 overdrive. It's a dual overdrive. One side of it is his Edwards overdrive, which is the it's a blues breaker style OD. The other side is the 1689, which is a tube screamer and a Klon in one. It's like it's the best of both worlds. Each one has different clipping options. This thing gets fucking awesome bluesy sounds. I'm working on a video for it now, and this thing sounds fucking phenomenal.
Is it blues you can use?
It is.
Nice. What do you got to be blue about? So you just a little crazy news on your front. You told me that you installed a pool.
Yeah, I did.
Is it a black bottom pool?
No.
That's a thing now, and it looks really cool. It's like you just jumping into the abyss.
Just a standard Coleman 16x10 above ground pool. Picked it up at Walmart. My daughter's been begging me for one for weeks now. So,
well, dude, you live in Texas. I mean,
no, yeah, you need it for sure.
I mean, it's like it's 90 degrees outside here.
Yeah. Well, it's been raining for the last month nonstop, and it's going to go for another week.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem in Texas. I was actually in Texas recently. I actually came visit you. Like even in the summertime, I've been there. The humid heat doesn't bother me. I'm like so Cajun that I'm like a lizard. You put me in like, it's crazy, dude. Like it's humid heat, and look at my skin. I mean, it's like my skin just like goes like loves it, drinks it in.
Being from New York, for me, I'm used to the humidity.
Everything clears up. It's just weird. Is it just me, or is East Coast humidity different? Because like when I was just recently on the East Coast, I was in Philadelphia, and that humidity was kicking my ass.
Yeah, no, New York humid is stupid. It's ridiculous.
It was like I was like sweaty. Like
yeah, you just feel sticky and gross.
But like I go to Louisiana, no problem. Was like drinking it in like a lizard.
Yep.
You know,
like the humidity here is nothing for me. I can deal with it.
Yeah, it's weird. There's just spots of that like in that New Englandish kind of northern area. It's just
that place.
Well, everything's different and weird there. Like weather-wise. So back to our subject. Delicious. It's a good vintage. Yeah, I have to glue. What of it?
I don't judge.
So that's kind of concludes where we were at with my tonal journey to date. I could take it or leave it. I'm not changeable anymore. I just kind of go with the flow with whatever I want to do. Sometimes the straight into amp sound works great for me. It's just another tool in my toolkit. Sometimes I want to do like 1,000 effects. Sometimes I want to do really crazy effects.
Yep.
But like, have you said like just thinking about your situation, like how much have you evolved, say, from when you started to where you are now?
Gosh, that's a fucking question. So
talk about your evolution. I've been talking forever. You talk some. It's your turn.
When I first started out, just playing acoustic, just nylon string, that sort of thing, throw the radio on in my room and
dust in the wind and gotcha.
Yeah, just try to shittily play along with the radio, and I had no idea what I was doing. Come high school, got really into Chili Peppers, and got my first electric guitar, which was an Ibanez RG350 DX.
That's not bad.
It's like the Steve Vai model, just without the monkey grip.
I had a Samick.
Why?
Because my mom bought it for me. My first electric guitar was a candy apple red Samick Strat copy.
I really wanted a Squire at the time, but
so did I. I saw the ad for the white Squire, and I'm like, I gotta have dude. He's like, yeah.
Yep. I wanted the candy apple red one so bad.
I wanted the white.
Never happened.
Oh man, I get you. Continue. We all wanted the Squire. It was really cool back in the day. And the ad campaign, on point.
I was playing that, and it was freshman year of high school. My computer teacher was a guitarist too. Every time we go into class, we just bullshit about it, and he gave me 100-watt custom combo amp and played the thing for about 2 or 3 years. Very first amp, treated me well. Just working my way through Chili Peppers and whatever other terrible shit I was listening to at the time. And that was pretty much high school for the most part. Come college, which was about 2011, joined a pop punk band, which
was it called the Lady Fingers?
No, that's you.
I forgot that. Did you guys just fillet random strangers in alleyways?
Well, yeah. How else do you think we
fair enough
paid for shit? Were you not doing that?
Gear. I need gear, bro.
Yeah. So I started the band, just a bunch of dudes off Craigslist, and
those are the greatest.
Yeah, and honestly, it was great.
We'll do an episode. Next episode, we're going to talk about Craigslist band auditions. Tune in next week.
That is definitely a whole episode. We're going to do that.
We might have a guest next week, but after that, we're going to talk about. Yeah, I've got stories. Continue.
Oh yeah. Did that, and honestly, great group of dudes. I'm still friends with them to this day. And it was supposed to be, just kind of a rock band, and the singer and bassist were very much into pop punk, like dressed the part and everything. And
like what bands? Like specifically?
All Time Low, Taking Back Sunday, that sort of thing.
Yeah, boo.
Yeah. I mean, they were incredibly talented, and I'm lucky to have played with them, but it was very
don't
much
enable
not my
don't
scene.
enable them. Don't enable them.
In case they're watching it.
I don't care. Don't enable them. They know what they did.
So yeah, I was part of the pop punk scene for about 2 years. And then that band sort of fizzled out, and it was just me and the singer. We were doing like an acoustic duo, still in that same scene. And it was very much, your pop punk kids, black nail polish, bangs pushed to the side. And
I'm aware of that look. Yes.
Yeah. And I stuck out like a fucking sore thumb. So yeah, did that. That was a special time in my life. From there, moved on to another band that I formed with a couple dudes that were at my college. They were fucking incredibly talented. All these dudes were probably the most fun time I had, playing music.
I love being in bands where you're totally outclassed by everyone else.
Oh yeah,
in the band.
very much so.
Because you have to like stretch to get up to their level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it was kind of a jam band in a way, but like we had a couple originals, but mainly played covers and stuff, and it didn't matter what we did. We were all on the same page all the time. It just came naturally for us. So, I mean, I wasn't really like out of my comfort zone or anything, or doing anything crazy for that. It was just very much for me. Like during that time, I got way better as a musician. Like I was focusing more on my instrument and playing better. So that time for me was pretty crucial. After that band fizzled out, that was 2015. That's when joined the army, went overseas. And during that time, I met a dude, Goodman. I went to basic training together, and he was in a theater, in high school and college. So he and I, got together and wrote some stuff, still, very much out of my comfort zone.
I did musical theater and stuff too. I mean,
we're definitely going to talk about that too.
This Jesus must die. Oh, as Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, joy. Do you have pictures?
Yeah, I was 1 year it was Mercutio, and the next year it was Tybalt.
Yeah, it was Bernardo in West Side Story, and then The Artful Dodger and Oliver.
Nice.
Oliver Twist. Yeah.
Dude, that's fun.
How I got my start, technically.
I felt like Mercutio and Tybalt kind of were the perfect two sides of the coin to my personality. Like very whimsical and then very just terrifying. Continue.
So I guess it probably should be said during those like 2011 to 2015, going through those two bands, like we talked last episode, my pedal board wasn't the same week to week. I was always either getting something new or I was just fucking with it and constantly changing shit out. And
changeable. Yeah, dude.
Very much.
Like we were all very changeable.
Yeah,
like during that crucible.
Mm-hmm. There were only like two pedals at the time that I was married to, and they were always on my board. Everything else was, pretty much every
those
Friday
two pedals?
Night. It was a DL4 and the Full Tone Full Drive 2.
Yeah, that'll get it done.
No, pretty much a tube scream and a delay.
Yeah, that gets it done. Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, constantly working on my board. And it's funny now because back then there were pedals that I was like, I'm not vibing with this. And, I sold it to Guitar Center stupidly. And over the last 2 years, I found myself, on Reddit trading pedals and getting all of those same pedals back because I missed them. And I realized, they actually did sound good. You were just a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Check out episode 3 of the Pedalboard Podcast where we talk about that.
Yeah, not proud of all that, but
pedals that you bought to buy again.
Yeah. There's some of them I bought 3 or 4 times. Not proud of it, but they're here to stay now. So yeah, after I was working with Goodman when we were stationed in Italy together. We did the duo thing. Met up with a keyboardist, one of the most talented pianists I've ever met, and we're not adults here.
No, we are not.
Yeah. With that band, I think we wrote like a 6-song EP, put that out, and we played like an open mic night, and that was pretty much the gist of our band. Like that was it. No drummer or anything. It was just me, a singer, and a keyboardist. That's it. So during that time, it was a little like out of my comfort zone. We wrote some songs that I never would have written on my own. So it did help me a little bit as a guitarist. From there, it's pretty much where I am now. I just kind of focused on doing the solo thing for about 2 years, just releasing stuff as I wanted, working with other people and doing collaborations and whatnot, and that helped me as well. Same thing with my pedal board, constantly changing. Every 2 weeks, I was, in my room tinkering with it and changing it up, and that is why I do what I do today, like building pedal boards, because I've been doing it for fucking 10 years now.
No, I've been doing it for quite some time myself, and I it was a leap of faith to let someone else work on my pedal board.
If for most people it is, and I've been finding that is people like they cherish that time of, they sit down with their board and change it and wire it together. It's like, it's a thing for people. And I totally get that. So yeah, letting people letting me come into their rig and get my hands on it it's been like a trust thing that I've noticed.
Get putting your hands on rigs.
Oh yeah, all the time.
No, that's very fascinating. There's kind of just kind of talking to this podcast. I think we should take a moment to thank our generous sponsors. We do have a few very generous sponsors for this podcast. Vince, we all kind of stay in our lanes here, and Vince is definitely the keeper and face of us to the sponsors. Vince, who's up first? Who do we want to thank? We'll thank them and talk about them a little bit.
Get Off My Case.
Get Off My Case. I'm glad you started with them. They built my board. Yeah, I love their products.
No, they're great quality. The guy over there, Ed, fantastic guy. I love him. It doesn't matter what I come up with, he can make it happen.
They make fantastic. Yeah, my board was kind of out there. It's pink, and you will see a video for that across a few channels very, very soon. You're going to see it on Vince's channel. Vince DeJoya. What's your YouTube channel?
Just Vince DeJoya.
Vince DeJoya on YouTube. Check it out. You'll see some of that stuff there come across his Instagram. You're definitely gonna see it come across mine. Little George Granoth. Maybe you'll see it on Get Off My Case's stuff. They got a social media following. They don't necessarily specialize in pedal boards. They definitely specialize more in like cases and road cases and stuff like that. But they can do some outlandish things with those too. I'm actually talking to them about building me a live-in case for my EVH. Okay. I use an EVH 5153 or 5152 with the EL 84s instead of the 606s. It's very Marshall-y. It's pretty much a Marshall for most of all intents and purposes, like a brown sound Marshall. But I'm talking about them doing it's kind of cumbersome. And I want to have a live-in case so I can have like my wireless units like mounted in, and I can just roll it in, pull the front and back off, and I'm done.
If anyone can do it, they can.
Sure. Yeah. They're already cool. And I'm like, it's got to be pink. And they're like, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah. We remember you.
They were like, oh, we've heard about you. They build great stuff. They're hooking us up with boards for segments. They're hooking us up with all sorts of stuff. I look forward to doing more business with them in the future. It definitely looks like that's going to be a thing. So go check out getoffmycase.com. You could go Get Off My Case on Instagram or Facebook. They have both of those. Their Instagram page is actually pretty cool. You should go check that out. It's just GOMC case. I did my homework.
It gets simpler than that.
Okay, who's next? Who's up? Who's next?
Bullet Cable. Joe over at Bullet Cable, he's sponsoring the channel, giving us some cable kits for the segments that we have coming up. Really great dude, makes great stuff.
He does. I use the Bullet cables. I use their coily cables for my Super Caveman rig. I like the coily cable because obviously I at the time I was too much of a purist for a wireless rig. Once again, there you go. Changeable as the weather. But I still have 2 bullet cables.
You know, they're great.
2 white coily 30 footers that have been on the road with me for like 20 years and they still work. No repairs. They're dirty. They're not really white anymore, but then a bathtub in 5 minutes with some bleach wouldn't take care of, you know what I mean? Like but no, they're great cables, and he also
they're affordable and they're great quality.
Very affordable.
Pretty sure they come in a million different colors, which is probably perfect for you.
They do. I know recently Fender got on the coily cable chain, and I bought one of the Jimi Hendrix ones, the purple ones. No, I really like the super heavy duty jacks that they put on there, like super heavy duty. And one of them's a right angle jack. And a lot of my guitars, I prefer the right angle jack because they're like the Jag Stang has the 1/4 inch on the front, right? A Les Paul, it's just it's better, cleaner, you know, run it. I loop it around my strap and just pop it in the back.
If you're playing Strats and Tellys, that's not so much of an option.
No, it is not. It's bad news bears for Strats and Tellys, which is weird why they do that on a Jimi Hendrix thing. Whatever, tomato. But bullet cable comes in both. You can get the right angle or the straight coily cable. It's 30 feet of insanity. You know, trip your friends. You know, choke out audience members. If you like to crowd surf, I do and did. You know, but I'd run around like I'm like a caveman and wild man. I used to put a belt around my amp because I was using a Fender Pro Junior, and I would belt it to a chair. You know, so I pull it so I didn't pull it down.
That's great.
Yeah, it's still, I'm actually still got the chair. I'm gonna have the whole setup. I'm gonna have it belted to the chair with the coily cable and the Silvertone 14A49.
Shit.
Like the whole rig. I'm not using the big muff that I used for that. Got stolen, so I had to buy more. But I've got the reissue, or the little tiny green big muff. I'm gonna throw in front of that. And then, you know, I had that strapped to the thing too, so it was like just boom. And I didn't even kick it with my foot. Like I'd go over and like punch it. But and my Bullet Cables. So thank you, Bullet Cables, for sponsoring this podcast. We appreciate you. And I think there's one more, isn't there?
Yes, Creation Music Company.
Yeah, Creation.
And John Snyder over there at Creation is great. That dude, seriously, every one of my ridiculous requests he accommodates. They make really great stuff.
Or our ridiculous requests that we make you trust upon them.
Every time they see my name on the phone, it's probably like, oh, this fucking guy again.
Oh God, what's he getting with now?
Yep. No, but I get most of my pedal boards from them, my cables, connectors. They make a ton of stuff, and it's all fantastic. One of the big things, I guess, in pedal boards now is the square plugs, the connectors.
Yep.
John created they're called mini cakes, and they're basically the same thing, just so much more affordable. And square plugs are great, but these things are, I mean, they look great. He's got his logo on them and everything, and they're less than half the price.
Booyaka. So you gotta go check out Creation Music Company. You got to do the whole thing. Creation Music Company on Instagram, Facebook, their website.
Pedal boards, cases, whatever you need.
They got the sauce. Is there anyone we've forgotten? I don't keep super good track.
I think that's it for now. In upcoming episodes, we'll have some more.
Yeah, there's a couple that are kind of in the works that are going to, one particularly is going to be super rad. What that is, I'll let you guess. But yeah, definitely let us know in the comments and everything, how changeable you are, how mercurial you are, as a guitar player, because we are all super mercurial. And it's just the way it is, everybody. You got anything else to say, Vince?
That's about it. No, come get your pedal board, dude.
Yeah, come get your pedal board, did at vagabondaudio.info. Yeah, check out his stuff. It's Mondo. let Vince touch your stuff. That's all I'm saying. Let him touch your rig.
rigs.
Yeah, he wants to handle your rig. He
my hands
wants
all over it.
Yeah, he wants to just caress it into something better. He
Fondle
wants to
your
give you
rigs.
he wants to give you a good feeling for good feeling long time. So like check him out. Definitely check out our co-host stuff. Brandon Shock of Shock Rock Effects. The dude makes some crazy stuff. We're discussing what pedal we are going to inflict on Vince. I'm trying to figure out the right one. I'm not coughing up mine. I love him too.
That's fine. That's fine.
No,
I know you're going to send me something crazy out there.
Yeah. I've got like my number one mouth breather, which is one I really like. It's an Ottawa. It's the best Ottawa. Among of a couple other things. You usually get a lot of juice packed in Shock Rock Effects. So check those out. You can check out his Joy and Sorrow on the JHS New and Notable episode. You can check out, Bit Tiger did a really cool animation for his Ocean Man pedal. I did a review for his Ocean Man pedal on Pedal Boards of Doom. You can see me there. I do a lot of stuff for them. That's kind of like, I've got my own YouTube channel, Lowell George Groth, but it's just basically me dicking around. No one cares. So I definitely have definitely do more of my damage here and on Pedal Boards of Doom. So check that out. Check out the Facebook group, man. Like 72,000 strong. Yep. Pretty rad. But just remember, be fantastic always, everybody, and don't lick a bag of suck. See you later.
I am so